prior conflicts. Before you start a business, you have to make sure that you are not in conflict of any of your current obligations. You have to make sure that you are not violating any non-competes that you may have with your current company. No one ever thinks about this for some reason. If you're working for a big company and you're saying, okay, this is usually the deal. I'll do my side hustle. I'll do my own thing. When that becomes viable, then I'll quit my big job and then I'll do this 100%. Almost all the companies that I've incorporated start something like that. And that's well and fine. But if you're working for a big company, you have to make sure that you are not in any sort of non-compete violation with that company. Most big companies will have you sign employment agreements, non-competes when you work with them, especially if you're going to be having a company that's competing with your former employer, right? That's not going to work. They're going to send you a cease and desist. You're going to have to end it right there. So what do? Start with checking your employment agreements and checking any obligation that you may have prior to starting your business. Some non-compete agreements will say specifically your duty to disclose, meaning that if you are starting another business, you have to at least tell them so that they can do their own vetting to make sure that you are not in violation of any non-compete. John Doe's carpentry. Let's say he worked for a hospital and now he wants to start his carpentry. Obviously, they're not related. They're very unrelated. They're unrelated jobs. But John Doe may have an employment agreement with the hospital that says, before you start any business for yourself, you have to disclose and let us know so that we know, because most of these big companies want to know. Then if you are doing your own business without disclosing that, then you are in breach of contract with your current job. So be really, really careful about that. Just incorporating your business sometimes would spark a lawsuit with your old company. And you don't want to start off on that foot. I can tell you, you don't want to start off a business having been sued by your prior employer. So the best thing that I can advise is first of all, go to the contract. If you don't have a contract with your former employer, then fine, then you don't really have that much to worry about unless you're trying to poach clients and all that, then that's a different discussion. But if you do, and most big companies will have some sort of employment agreement where they have a non-compete or they have a duty to disclose. Make sure that you're following that, please, because I would not like for any new entrepreneur to start their business and 2 weeks later you're hit with a cease and desist. 3 weeks later you're hit with a lawsuit for breach of contract. Oh, wow. That's going to kill your business completely. So if you're saying, well, how do I know if I'm under a non-compete? I started working for this company 10 years ago. I have no idea where any of that paperwork is. Go to HR, ask them for a copy. The best thing that you can do is full disclosure. Don't misrepresent what you're doing for your business. So if your intention is to start your own business to do the same thing that you've been doing for your employer, you have to let them know if you're under a non-compete. I'm telling you, you don't want them to come after you. And I've had businesses like that. And I've had consult with clients who try to skirt the issue and they send me the non-compete and I tell them, you can't do this. Or you disclose to them and let them make that decision to not sue you if you decide to do it. The conflicts don't always have to be with just another employer. What if you're coming off of dissolving a partnership?
The content on Minding Your Business is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific legal advice. This show discusses general legal issues affecting business owners. Opinions of the guests are not necessarily that of the show. If you need assistance with your specific legal issue, please consult with a licensed attorney.